Kick-Ass 2 hit San Diego Comic-Con 2013, sans Jim Carrey. How does it feel to be here without Jim Carrey, promoting the film with you guys?
Well, I miss Jim. I love Jim. But I don't understand why Jim's not here, though. I mean, he saw the first movie, he read the script, you knew it was incredibly violent, everybody's going to get Cuisinarted at some point. When did the shock happen? I don't understand. When did you realize you were in a really violent movie?
One of my friends called me up and he said, Jim Carrey's a genius. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, he's just bought you guys $30 million worth of publicity, you know? So I'm thinking of disassociating myself from every movie I'm ever doing from now on. Because the thing is, I mean, saying a movie's too violent is a bit like saying it's too cool or it's too awesome, you know?
Too sexy.
So, no, everybody's just thinking, yeah, exactly. The people are too attractive in this film. You know?
How do you do promotion for a film where your name is the mother?
It's a good question. Well, apparently we could say it on here.
I'm gonna bleep it.
Okay.
I'm gonna bleep it.
The motherfucker. It's hard. I say the mother effer a lot.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like it. Like people can bleep words, right? That can happen. So I should just start saying the motherfucker.
You must be pretty happy with this film because rumor is that you have the director-writer coming over to X-Force.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. He's. I don't know if I can confirm that, but yeah, he's. He may be involved in X-Force. Yeah. But you know what? I mean, the guys at Fox. I mean, I talk to them almost every day, and we were chatting about who'd be great. And I literally just watched the first cut of Kick-Ass, like last year, and I was like, this guy's incredible. I know Jeff's going to explode after this, so get in now while he's still relatively cheap.
Yeah, right. Get on the ground floor.
Yeah.
I hear you were so good with this movie that you got X-Force as a reward.
I don't know if it worked out exactly that way. I loved X-Force as a kid. I bought issue 1. I bought the New Mutants run that Rob did, and I'm actually reading the current run, the Uncanny X-Force. I think it's the best Marvel title out there. So actually, I really chased it and went to Mark and said, this is something I want to do. I know you're now helping Fox figure it all out. I said, this is how I would do it, and Mark really got behind it and supported the idea, and so now I'm doing it.
Comic book really goes there. Kick-Ass 2.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets pretty violent.
Yeah.
Will the movie go to that degree?
No, I remember reading the comic books for the sequel, and some of the things it was just outrageous.
The movie is extremely violent. I don't know if you follow Jim Carrey's Twitter feed.
I do. I've
but
heard of it.
It's quite violent, as he's pointed out. But at the same time, it's different than the comic. The first film took liberties with the comic. For example, the whole jetpack sequence is not in the first comic. And to Mark's credit as the writer of the comics, he said to me, listen, I gotta write my comic books, but you gotta make your movie, and they're different mediums, right? So he has to do things to get people's attention and make a dramatic point in the comic, and he has to use the tools that he has access to, and a comic doesn't have music, it doesn't have live people, and when you're making a movie, you have access to all these different tools, and so there's certain things that he had to do in the comic that weren't necessary in the movie, and he said to me, do what you gotta do to make the best movie you can make, and so it was wonderful to have that kind of liberty.
You're not just a villain.
I'm not just a villain.
You're like a hardcore villain.
In like a gimp
and this is
fetish outfit. It's gnarly.
That's totally new for you.
It is.
How is it doing that? Are you excited to take it?
I was very excited. It was very nerve-wracking at first. I read the script. I was like, holy shit, I got to do all this stuff. It was very dark. It's nothing I've done before. So I was excited to challenge myself, but also very nervous to see if I could pull it off. But Jeff linked me up with a great acting coach, and we worked together for a month prior to shooting and really dug out a great character, I feel like.
So how does it feel, the first film, a lot of people were saying, well, I don't know if it's going to get a sequel.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be kind of like in this vindication of here's a sequel?
That's the word, vindication. But it's not a malicious thing. To me, it's justified. I just nodded, yeah, that's right. It was supposed to be that way. And it's not a cockiness about the product, but we've been doing the product nonstop. And it had to be done because the quality of the second arc justified a second movie.
It's something I'm not used to kind of doing, I just kind of jump from one other character to the next and kind of, that's why I get to explore. But to kind of go back to something and try and make it feel like the same sort of person that we remember, and also kind of take him to a whole new place in his life, So that was the real challenge in that. But the writing was so good that, that he's the same old Dave, still trying to discover what he's doing, and he wants to become a superhero. So he trains with Hit Girl, but there was the consequences are that the whole weight of the world sort of lies on your shoulders, and you've got to take those responsibilities.
Well, not quite the same. From the trailer, it appears that Kick-Ass has been working out.
Right. So yeah, Hit Girl's training him up. You see. So
It's not in the comic, but they give you a surrogate father here. With John Leguizamo.
Yeah, he plays my bodyguard.
Yeah, how is that?
And it was amazing. Yeah, he worked for my parents. My father, he worked for my father. He died. Worked for my mother. Something happens to her in this movie, so he works for me. And I thought that was very necessary because otherwise I have no connection and no heart. Every character kind of has to have some sort of grounding, heart, something that people can relate to. And John is just such a great actor, and he brought that. And it was so good to work with him.
What are you hoping to bring to the franchise when you join for the sequel here?
I was hoping to pump up the humor a little bit, keep the reality level happening, because it's so great, this franchise, when you really believe it, and at the same time it doesn't interfere with the fantasy part of it.
Yeah.
And it's like the best of all comics, because a lot of comic books brought to movies are just, in a hyper, unreal world. You just don't believe. But this one, these kids don't really have powers, so they have actual real consequences for the fact that they want to save the world, but it's not an easy thing to do.